Last part, here we go. We must remember that the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where h and k is the center and the radius is r. And sometimes you might multiply out the squared part, that's okay. So if I take this first one right here, I've got x squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 4 squared. You might write that as 16. Number 10, I've got x plus 4 squared, y minus 1 squared equals 3.5 squared. I don't know what that is squared off the top of my head. Number 11, x plus 4 squared, y plus 3 squared is equal to, diameter is 12, which means radius is 6. 6 squared, or 36. Number 12, x minus 5 squared plus y plus 2 squared is equal to, again, diameter, so I'm going to change that to the radius, 2.5 squared. Now it gets a little more interesting because it says passes through. And here's the deal for these. I know. The deal for these is it's just like any other equation. You know certain points, plug them in, and solve for what you need. So for example, 13. I know the center, x minus 3 squared, y minus 1 squared. I don't know r. But guess what this point is? This point is x comma y. So take x comma y, plug it in for x and y, and solve for r. So in this particular case, if I do that, I'm going to have 5 minus 3 squared. I'm going to have negative 4 minus 1 squared equals r squared. 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5. Square that, you get 25, which means r squared is equal to 29. And I can take that and I can write my final answer as x minus 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 29. Notice I didn't mess with writing it as a number squared because, well, the square root of 29 ain't nice. So I'm just going to leave it as is. And that's totally okay. If you needed that for help, go ahead and try 14 on your own. It's the same idea. Otherwise, I'm going to jump straight in. And I'm going to start here. I've got x plus 6 squared. I've got y minus 5 squared. That is equal to r squared. I need to take my negative 2 and negative 3, plug them in. Negative 2 plus 6 squared. Negative 3 minus 5 squared is equal to r squared. This is 4 squared, that's 16. That's negative 8 squared, that's 64. That's equal to r squared. 16 plus 64, 70 is 80. So now I've got 80 is equal to r squared. So I can come back here and I can write my final equation. X plus 6 squared, y minus 5 squared is equal to 80. 15. Little old rule for midpoint, and the midpoint formula says that if you add your x's and your y's and divide by 2, you get the point halfway in between. So for example, negative 3 plus negative 7 divided by 2, and then 4 plus negative 2 divided by 2. I took my 2 x's, added them, divided by 2. I took my 2 y's, added them, divided by 2. You simplify that on down. Negative 10 over 2 is a negative 5. 2 over 2 is a 1. This is now your center. And then you can proceed your problem like normal. These next few ask us to find the radius and center of each. Radius is pretty easy on this first one. Radius is 8. My center is going to be 0 and 6. Remember to change your signs. 17 also is not too bad. I've got a negative 1, negative 2 for my center, and my radius is going to be the square root, or 7. As we move down to 18, what you need to remember is that you've got to add that 25 to the other side. So my center is going to be positive 3, negative 5, and then the other side is going to be, or my radius is going to be a 5. Same thing I can do over here. Your center is just going to be 0, 0 because nothing can be added or subtracted. When you add the 20 to the other side, that means your radius is the square root of 20. Which you could simplify down, make your tree, and you do get 2 root 5. Depends on what you're interested in. Graphing the circle, last problem. Our center is going to be -2, positive 1. So I can come over here to -2, positive 1. I can plot that center point. And then 9 means that my radius is 3, so I'm going to travel 3 in each direction. And now that I've plotted my general spacing, remember, when in doubt, push out. Make it look like a nice circle all the way around. You don't want a squashed, funky square. Top's a little better than the bottom, but oh well.